Did the president address Netanyahu's use of the phrase "from the river to the sea" in their conversation today? I know the White House has previously said that phrase is divisive. So
I'm not aware that that specific phrase was discussed.
do you condemn him using that phrase?
Look, there's a connotation with that phrase. We've talked about this before, but when you use the phrase "river to the sea," it speaks basically to the mantra of Hamas and in their manifesto, where they basically describe the geographic bounds of what they believe to be Palestine. And if you look at it on the map, if you go look at the four corners that they describe it, it's basically the state of Israel. They just don't believe it should exist. So again, it's not a phrase that that we recommend using, given because of that context.
But this wasn't Hamas. This was Netanyahu.
I understand. I don't have anything more on that, and I certainly don't have anything more on the conversation to read out with respect to that.
You had talked about the hard work it will take to kind of come to an agreement of sorts on a two-state solution. Can you outline what that kind of work and conversation would look like? Does this mean more calls between Biden and Bibi? How does he expect to?
Well, I think there's certainly going to be more calls between the two leaders, and there'll be more conversations between our two teams. I mean, Secretary of State Blinken's been there, 4 or 5 times since the 7th of October, and I have every expectation he'll be back again as well. And we're going to continue to have discussions with the team across a range of issues. I understand that the two-state solution is the issue today because of the comments in the press here, but every discussion we're having in the region has a component of it about post-conflict Gaza and governance and what that looks like. And yes, of course, our continued interest in a two-state solution, but it also has to do with humanitarian assistance, with getting the hostages released, and making sure that Israel has the weapons and capabilities that it needs to defend itself. And I'll just end with this. I mean, prior to the 7th of October, as you all know, we were working closely with Israel and Saudi Arabia on a potential normalization deal. A normalization deal that the president believes Hamas was also aware of, and certainly could have been a contributing factor to the violence that they visited on the Israeli people on the 7th. Bless you. I lost my train of thought. The point is that we're still having discussions with counterparts about that normalization, and we've gotten some positive feedback, even from Saudi Arabia, about what that could look like going forward as a part of that normalization. Should we be able to get there, and we were making progress before the 7th. Obviously, there would be a component in there for the Palestinians. There would have to be, and we're not giving up on that. And if you're able to get to that normalization, that could be a significant milestone in overcoming some of the challenges of a two-state solution.
Did the president in his call today with Netanyahu express any concern about Netanyahu continuing to say that he doesn't stand for a two-state solution?
I think I'll just leave my description of the call the way it was, and again, you'll see a readout here coming from us on paper. But yes, they talked about, in general, talked about the possibilities of a two-state solution, and the president reaffirmed and reiterated his strong belief in that possibility.
Thank you so much. You mentioned progress on the front of the tax revenue issue in the West Bank. Does that mean the Israeli Prime Minister has committed to release this tax revenue?
There was discussions in their cabinet about that, and that was what I was referencing there. Was ongoing discussions within the cabinet about the revenue and using it appropriately.